What's going on, guys? This is Martyrs Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Bloodborne commentary. Alright guys, we are back at it once again, and indeed it has been a while. I've been playing the game, but I've been pretty much trying to finish all my builds. I currently have 4 builds: a strength, quality, arcane, and a skill. Well, actually, let me take that back. I have 5 builds, but I'm actually working to complete 4 of those. My first build is 125, right? That's the first build that I had when I started the game. And then I created 4 other builds, which are all soul level 100s. Well, blood level 100s. It's a quality, an arcane, a strength, and a skill. Right? And we're going to go over 3 of those builds in this particular video. Now, why are we going to talk about builds? The main reason we're going to talk about builds, and actually we're going to do a lot of random talking in this particular video, mainly because I want this video to be a direct response to Praise the Sun. Now, in the event that you guys aren't aware of who the Praise the Sun is, he's one of those hotshot Dark Souls 2 uploaders. A lot of his audience come from Dark Souls 2. And he's good at PvP. He's pretty, as a matter of fact, even though I wasn't even playing Dark Souls 2, I was actually watching his videos and PvP skills, right? But one video in particular, he's basically suggesting for everyone to go to 150, right? And his main argument for everyone to go to blood level 150 is that since 50 in vitality is necessary to have reasonable fights, then we must go to blood level 150. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you people who are kind of good at deconstructing arguments already see the flaw. Like, in other words, to disprove that argument, all you have to demonstrate is that you can go to lower levels with 50 in vitality and not go to 150. So, I mean, that's easy to debunk, but it's not about debunking anything. I'm just going to provide some counter arguments. Alright, so here is my first character. It's a quality build, as you guys can see, 36-36. I have 45 in vitality. I don't have 50, and that's mainly because I wanted to stop all my builds at 100. I'm making sacrifices, which one thing I do believe in sacrifices. That's another reason why I don't believe in making blood levels too high. And I mean, my argument with regard to levels not being too high has been consistent. It was the same in Dark Souls 1. If you guys are familiar with my soul meta, questioning the soul meta in Dark Souls 2, it was the exact same thing. Right, so I'm all about sacrifices. Now, as you guys can see, I'm just going over some of the weapons that I have. At 36-36, my build is pretty powerful. As you guys can see, my saw cleaver, somewhere around 580. Hunter axe, as you guys can see, 662. Burial blade, a little below 600. My Kirk hammer, right? 790 AR, and my Ludwig at 36-36 is hitting at a powerful AR of 835. So, as you guys can see, I'm pretty decked out. I have definitely been doing my homework in the Chalice dungeons, right? And I didn't have to get to 150 to do it. As a matter of fact, I don't even have to get close to 150 to do it. And I think I only have 2 builds with vitality of 45. My other 2 builds, as a matter of fact, it's my quality and my arcane, I believe, which I'm not going to show in this particular video. I will show at a later date. But my quality and my arcane both have 45 in vitality. And once I have everything equipped, I believe I have 1801 HP. And my strength and my skill both have 50 in vitality, and when I'm ready for battle, I have 1897 HP. Right, so it's a difference of just a little less than 100 points. Right, so I mean, I'm fully decked out, and as you guys can see, I don't have to reach blood level 110, blood level 120, 125, or 150 to get it. So that right there, just showing you some of these builds, is already kind of debunking the first part of his argument, which is, you know, in order to have 50 in vitality, we must reach blood level 150. So, now, here's another part of the argument. If you guys have been watching these builds, right, that was my quality build. Here is my skill build, blood level 100, 50 in vitality, 16 in strength, and that was mainly because I wanted to use the Ludwig, which, keep in mind, with little to no strength investment, my Ludwig, as you guys will see, still have an AR of 709. 709 on a pure skill build. I have 50 skill, 50 vitality. When it's all said and done, I have 1897 HP. Now, I'm going to scroll through some of the weapons. You guys will see that my weapons are pretty good, right? With all the hard work I've been doing in those chalice dungeons. So another point that I want to bring out, because at least to me, this particular build is complete. It's a skill build. All my points have been invested into skill. If I were to go up to blood level 150, where would I put these additional points and still have a quote-unquote skill build? Think about it. Now that I already have 50 in skill, I have 50 more points to invest if I were to follow his suggestion. Where would the other points go? Well, I could dump some points into blood tinge. The other points I can dump into strength. And as you guys can see, as I'm dumping more and more points, because 50 is a lot of points, and I'm already maxed out in skill. So the more points I dumped in more areas, it will no longer be a skill build. It would be more of a, actually it would be kind of closer to my quality build. As you guys could see earlier, I was 36. So the more points I'm investing in other areas, I'm moving more to a quality, which won't make this particular build stand out as a skill build. And this is why we don't want to have levels going too high, because we want to have certain builds compete with each other. You know, you have a skill build competing against a quality, you know, at the same level, at or somewhere around the same level, right? So you're testing how a 100 blood tinge would fare against a 100 strength. You would have a 100 strength, see how that fare against a 100 arcane, right? And that way you're testing the strengths of your builds. If you're going too high, you're not really testing the strength of anything, because basically everyone will have an all-around build. Like I said before, if I had 50 more points to invest, some will go into strength, some will go into blood tinge, and maybe a few more points will go into arcane. And it's the same thing with all my builds. The next build we're going to see, you know, and you guys see the AR of my weapons. Like I said before, 709 on a Ludwig with little to no strength investment. As a matter of fact, it's just the minimum investment. Here's my strength build. Now, although it's not necessarily complete, I just wanted to show it off for the purposes of this video. Once again, I have 50 in vitality, and I don't have to go anywhere close to 150. And these are old builds. Best believe I didn't just make these builds up within the last 2 days as a direct response to the video. I remember a lot of the things that I've learned from Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls, and I carried those things on with me once I played this game. Now, even though we didn't have like a build planner or character customization calculator or anything like that, basically all I did in the very beginning, before we had any of these tools, I went to each class. I just basically did the math. You know, I went from base, I added up how many points, and I figured out which would be the better class. So it's not like I just did this, right? These are the builds that I've had for weeks, right? Several weeks. Like I said before, here's my strength build. It's incomplete, but I'm just showing it off for the purposes of this video. And as you guys can see, I have 50 now. Once again, with 50 more points in investment, where would I dump the points? I will dump them in skill. I would dump them in Blood Tinge, maybe dabble a little bit in Arcane. After doing that, it would no longer be a strength build, right? So 2 points so far that I have against 2 points that I have so far against going to blood level 150. The first point is that going to 150 isn't necessary to attain 50 in vitality. That's the first point so far. The second point is, if you're going all the way to 150, you will no longer have one type of build. You would basically have everybody who will have builds that can do everything. Now, in all fairness, I do think, because he got a lot of views and he got a lot of support if you read the comments. And in all fairness, I think a lot of that is biased, right? And it's not attacking him, but what I'm saying is, since he is known largely from Dark Souls 2, 150 was the meta for a long time in Dark Souls 2. So I think for a lot of his audience, just hearing 150 is almost natural. But Bloodborne is not Dark Souls 2. Right? We have less categories. You don't have to worry about endurance, stamina. You know what I'm saying? You don't weight load rather. You don't have to worry about that. There's other things you don't have to worry about. You know, there's no faith. There's no intelligence. So you know, it's totally different games. So I don't think that just because 150 may have been ideal in that game, that we should also make the same suggestion for this game. Right? Now, another point that he was making in the video, you know, he was saying how easy it was to get these 27 gems, these 27% gems. There may have been easy for him, right? But me, myself, I had a hard time the first time I did it. Now, granted, after you do it the first time, more than likely it will be a lot easier for you to do because you know what to expect. You're getting a little more familiar with some of the enemies, some of the bosses, and you know, you realize some enemies you can run past, you know, where some of the rooms are. You're more and more familiar with the layouts of some of these challenge dungeons. So granted, the second time, maybe the third time you do it is going to be a lot easier than you do it the first time, right? But at the end of the day, you know, and actually here's another point. If you read some of the comments in this video, some of them say, you know, well, this is why I think blood gems need to be nerfed. I am strongly against that, right? And the main reason why I'm strongly against that is, for a person who only wants to PvE, the strongest gem that you can get is around 19.5. That's the strongest gem that you can get. After going through all the challenge dungeons, because keep in mind, it's not like you can start from 0 challenge dungeons and be at some of the hardest ones within an hour. No, you have to go through all of them to be able to unlock some of the hardest ones. So that's going to take additional time. And a lot of the bosses in the challenge dungeons are much harder than a lot of the bosses that you will experience in PvE. As a matter of fact, I would argue that challenge dungeons compared to PvE is more like, I don't know, New Game Plus 3, because they have more health, you know, and they hit much harder than a person who's only playing New Game. So for a person to not only complete PvE, but also go through all the challenge dungeons necessary to open them all, I think they should be rewarded with gems that are more powerful than the ones that you can get in the game. At the end of the day, there's only an 8% difference between the strongest gem that you can get in PvE and the strongest gem that we can currently get in the challenge dungeon, right, which is 27%. So between 19.5 and 27, as a matter of fact, is less than 8%. And across 3 gems, that's less than 25%. Out of all the work that you have to do, I think it's reasonable for you to, because in other words, if you're not going to be rewarded, then what's the whole incentive? Now, some people may argue, well, my incentive is to get platinum. Okay, well, that's good for you. The incentive for other people may be, well, listen, I mean, I want to do a new game plus 7 challenge, you know, or for whatever the reason. If they're able to go through all of those and successfully get to the point at which they can farm those chalice dungeons, I think they should be rewarded. So I definitely do not agree with those who suggested they should nerf the blood gems. Because once again, if you make them slightly on par with the gems that you can get in the game, well, you might as well just remove chalice dungeons altogether, because there's really no real incentive to endure them. Now, another point that I wanted to bring out. In his video, he had a few clips, right? And I guess some of the clips were demonstrations of how the 27% gems can make fights over a little too quickly. But if you pay close attention to that video, all of the times where the fights were over really quick, it was consistently quick against the invader. Consistently. Not too many times was there a host involved and he was 2 or 3 shotted. Which brings us to the issue, the same issue that I brought about in a previous video. I believe the video that I uploaded was titled "Let's Discuss the Issues with Bloodborne PvP." The issue is the 30% deficit. That's the issue. It's not 50 HP. It's not needing to go to blood level 150. The issue is, since invaders receive a 30% penalty, they are going to lose a lot faster than a person who have all of their health. So even if I have 27% gems, I am going to beat, okay, so let's just say I have all 27% gems. I'm playing a person who has, you know, 1897 vitality, just like I have 1897 vitality. If I play him when he is the host, he's going to last a lot longer than if I played him and hit him the same amount of times if he were the invader. And it's because of that 30%. The issue at hand is that invaders should not take a 30% deficit. And if invaders do take a 30% deficit, then they should give us something to the equivalent as the foes ring, just like I argued in a previous video. My arguments, guys, have always been consistent. In Bloodborne, we receive a penalty without anything to try to even out the states. So we have to try to compensate for things. Case in point, there's a video out with myself and Jutas 1988 having a set of duels, which that guy kicked my ass. He kicked my ass straight up. But and actually, speaking of the ass kicking, I just kind of forgot my point. But anyway, if I remember it in the future, I'll just get back to it. But anyway, the issue is that we're receiving a 30% penalty. That's why the fights are lasting so quickly. That's why. It's not needing to go to blood level 150. It's not that the gems need to be nerfed. If there was some way for us to sign a petition, or for us to spam the Twitter, of FromSoft, or some of, the pillars of the community, the big wigs over at Soulbrand, maybe they could suggest something. That's what we need. Because although it's not killing PvP for me, it's really a turnoff to a lot of invaders. Now, even though it's not a turnoff to me in PvP, it is frustrating when I'm doing invasions and I have to fight 3 people with only 70% of my HP. That is extremely frustrating, and I think it's unfair. Right now, I don't know if the 30% penalty is a part of the lore. Perhaps they can give us, a substitute, some type of equivalent to the foes ring or a cling ring or something like that. Perhaps they can give us something. But they really need to rethink that, and I hope in the event that we get a DLC, which it has recently been confirmed that we will get one, I hope they take these things into consideration. I mean, I understand, you know, FromSoft, you know, they have whatever kind of plans they have or whatever, but I really wish there was a way that the player base could make suggestions and let them know about our experience. PvE is great, but PvP have some issues. Another thing that makes PvP so short is, you know, everybody's a freaking Blood Tinge build in this damn game. Blood Tinge with the damn Evelyn is basically like the Darkwood Grain Ring, you know, Pyro Dex of Dark Souls 1. That's what everyone is. There is absolutely no experimentation in this game, and it is super annoying. All I run into 9 times out of 10 is the Evelyn, the Rite of Pelage, the Katana, and then every now and then I'll run into and the Ludwig, but I don't see anything wrong with the Ludwig because it swings slowly. But for the most part, there's a lot of weapons that I rarely see. Every now and then I'll run into a whip. Oh, and actually, let me take that back because I don't know what sparked it, but it seems like the Hunter Spear or Hunter Axe. No, not Hunter Axe. The Salt Cleaver, I think that's what it is. I guess that's a part of the new meta. Because that thing swings so fast once you get within range that it's basically a spam machine. So that's basically all I see. You know, and because of that, I think they really, now keep in mind, I'm not really the type of person who want nerfs, but I do think they need to do something with that damn bone marrow ash. Because for invaders, you're already taking a 30% penalty. And with these noobs that will shoot you faster than they will actually swing a weapon, fights are over far too quickly. Because 9 times out of 10, like, I don't know about you guys' experience, but here's most of the experiences that I have against these ridiculous, you know, Blood Tinge faggots. Basically, they spam the bone marrow, right? They'll use the bone marrow. They'll shoot. If they miss, they'll hit the bone marrow. They'll shoot. If they miss, they hit you with the bone marrow. If they just so happen to land, and you know, and they inflict a lot of damage, then here they come with their R1 spamming with the katana. And then, you know, after that, you know, they just shake the cape, you know, or sit on top of you or something like that, like they really bought that life. Come on, bruh. You didn't do anything. The bone marrow ash really needs to be nerfed. And I don't like asking for nerfs, but 10 times the damage, it's kind of ridiculous. One of my friends, Fig, shout out to Fig, he has a Blood Tinge build. That guy has like 70 points invested in Blood Tinge. And he will literally hit for like 1,000 if he gets you with that Blood Tinge. It's really disgusting. But it is what it is. Let me get back to the point of the video. So as I was saying, 150 isn't necessary to reach 50 in vitality. We talked about, you know, nerfing blood gems not being necessary. We talked about the main issue, which is that invaders are taking 30% deficits, and not the fact that, you know, the blood gems are OP. What else? Oh, here's another point that he brought up. Another supporting premise for his argument. He said, well, at blood level 150, you know, the summon range is between 100 and 200. And because the summon range is between 100 and 200, you'll never be in a situation where you're fighting a build that's not complete. So he almost countered his own argument by making that statement, because think about it. If you're saying that at 150 your summon range is as low as 100, and then in the next sentence you say, so you'll never run into a build that's not complete, he's already conceding that you can have a complete build at soul level 100, as I have demonstrated myself. So if your build is complete at 100, why go up another 50 levels? So in other words, why change from the uniqueness of having a skill build, an arcane build, a strength build, a quality build, you know, having unique builds, to basically everyone being 150 and we have an all-in-one build? I really don't see the point. Now, here's another point that I wanted to bring up. He said in his video that no one should have to worry about a person's build being OP. You know, it can't be that OP at blood level 150. Now, I showed you guys my my quality build, right? And my Ludwig had an AR of, what was it, 835. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that I were to go up to 150. Now, if my AR is 835 at 3636, let's see how much more OP my character would be if I were to go up to 150. Now, to help me out, what I'm going to do is there's a weapon AR calculator that I found. Now, to the extent that it is on point, let me create, as a matter of fact, so let me just put in the stats for my quality. It's 45, 20, 36, 36, 7, and 6. Okay, so that's blood level 100. And let me just use the Ludwig and let me put in the stats for the gems that I had. 26, 27, and 27. Okay, so according to the calculator, my AR, the AR for the Ludwig is 831. Now, so it's not exactly what I have because mine is 835, but it's close. So for the sake of this video, let's just use the Bloodborne AR calculator. Now, so this is at blood level 100, 835, 227 gems, 126 gem. Now, and actually, I'll put a link to this calculator in the description box so you guys can kind of dabble with it yourself and you can see the increase in the ARs for your weapons. Now, if I were to take my character to blood level 150, so let's see, 50 in strength, 50 in skill. Okay, so that will put me at 128. Okay, so I still have what? 22 levels. Okay, so let me just put 13 in blood tinge. So that'll give, actually, 13 blood tinge. Let's see, so 9 in arcane will allow me to use some of those basic spells. Okay, and 15 in arcane. Okay, so at 150, my quality, I would change from my 100 quality. And if I were to convert that to blood level 150, I would have 45 vitality, 20 in endurance, 50 in strength and skill, 20 in blood tinge, and 15 in arcane. The AR for the Ludwig went from 835 to 959. Another 120 AR. So think about it. If you think the Ludwig is already powerful at blood level 100, and if I have already demonstrated that you can achieve 50 in vitality at blood level 100, so assuming that everyone only has 50 in vitality at blood level 150, I'm actually going to kill you faster, guys, because by going up to blood level 150, the AR for my Ludwig will go up 120 points. So he said that, you know, no one will be that much stronger, but it's simply not true. Let me give you another example. If you guys go back to the beginning of the video, the AR for my Kirkhammer was 790. Guess what it would be if I went up to blood level 150? 894. 894. All right, a little over 100. For my, what was that? Where is it? Hunter Axe. It was 662. It will go up to 736. So I would actually kill you faster by going up to 150 than what I would at 100. Now, just for the sake of argument, let's just say I don't want to do a quality, right? And let's just say I want to do a blood tinge and skill. So let me just switch my points. 50 in skill, 50 in blood tinge. Alright, so that puts me in 146. Okay, so I'll just go 20 in strength. That'll put me at an even 150. Now think about it. If I were to have only a blood tinge skill, blood tinge build, at blood level 100, that means I couldn't have both skill and blood tinge. Either I would go mostly blood tinge and some skill, or all blood tinge and minimal skill. But at 150, the katana will have an AR, right, in standard form of 613, and in its second form 723. Now let's just say I had minimal skill like I would with a blood level 100. The AR of the original form would only be 433. That's almost 200 points in AR that I would be decreasing if I stayed at 100. So all of my points, guys. Number one, we don't need to go to 150. Number two, the main issue is the 30% deficit. Number three, that builds would actually be more OP than what they are at blood level 100. Now keep in mind, I'm not arguing 100. I'm speaking from the perspective of my builds, because one thing that I realize is that people listen to uploaders and place a lot of weight on what they say. And this is why I never take a stand on certain things. Like, in other words, let me kind of specify that. Like, I would never say anything like the blood level need to be X. I will never say that. And the reason why I won't say that is because people need to experiment for themselves. And this is why in a lot of my videos, instead of telling you guys what you should do, I basically say, hey, listen, I want you guys to just consider some things. Because, hey, think about my last Soul Level Meta video. Think about the one that I did for Dark Souls 2 and any other video that I've done. I've always said, hey, listen, I just want you guys to think about this for yourself so you can make your own decision. And then after thinking about certain points that are being raised, you can draw your own conclusion. Alright guys, well, hey, those are all of my points. I will put a link to Praise the Sun's video so you guys can check it out for yourself if you have yet to do it. And hey, until next time, Martyr's Brigade is